This is Susan Wilbanks with BlendedInsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic. Hello, beautiful, bright soul. Thank you so much for joining me on another podcast. And I am going to go right into the topic for today, and that is when you are connected, you are protected. And I wanted to remind you of this today because there is so much fear-mongering going on. And when you are in fear, you have disconnected yourself from the source of everything that is, and that is love. It's very difficult to be in the space of love if you are in fear. And when we are in fear, our fight or flight kicks in, and we are no longer thinking logically. There's almost a panic that comes over us, and our decision making is inhibited. And so part of the agenda of forces that want to control is to get you in fear. When we are in fear, we are disconnected from the truth. And the truth is, our soul put us in this body. And when we leave this body, we go back to all that is, where we came from. This human experience is temporary. When there is something we need to be aware of, our intuition will come in, and it will not give us fear. It will give us information and steps to take. And we follow the information and the steps, and we are okay. But it doesn't scare us. Your soul does not scare you. Your soul directs and guides you. There's a difference. And so what I want to remind you of today is that when you are connected to your intuition, to God, source, the I am presence, your soul, your higher self, creator, all of those adjectives that we use or names that we use to describe the indescribable, you're protected because you had an agreement before you came into this body that you're going to come in for a certain time, for a certain purpose, and we forget where we came from. We forget that we're connected. We forget the reason because it's a test. So if you have the answers and you already know, it's not a test. The answers are available to us, but we forget. So we have to go through certain things to be reminded. And oftentimes, challenges are what pull us closer to our intuition, to our source, creator, God, all of those things that we use to describe the very same thing. Different lantern, same light, different lantern, creator, whatever you want to call it. And so I try to be inclusive with my words because I know sometimes people get very, very hung up on the name. When can we really name the unnameable? No. But for reference, we try to choose a name. So I want to remind you that it's vitally important that you stay grounded and connected and keep things in perspective, having an accurate perception. Your source, your creator, wants the very best for you at all times. And that doesn't mean that we go through life without challenges. The purpose of coming here is to experience those challenges and to learn and grow from them. So there have been times in my life where I'm so connected to source and I'm in that space. And I don't watch the mainstream media, the news, because I know that it's controlled and its intent is to influence my decisions, to influence me in certain ways, whatever their agenda is at the time. So I learned many, many years ago, even when I was serving in the military, just don't. So I don't listen to that stuff. And so the more that I got really connected to my intuition and my creator, the more I would be able to tell when people were in low vibrations and they were trying to bring their fear energy to control me. And so there were times where I would just be driving. This happened multiple times. And I would just hear someone say, take a right here. Don't go that way. And I got so good at listening to it. The more that you're connected and the more that you're listening, the more that you feel comfort, even when the world is in disarray, because you know that your individual path and the way that you're supposed to co-create is being guided, and you're hearing so clearly that you're not confused and muddled by those that aren't in alignment. And I would go back and look on the news for the purpose of seeing if there was an accident or something. And I will tell you that I know at least 3 times when I was told to take a different route, there had been an accident on the route that I was supposed to take, or that I was planning to take, but I didn't take it because I listened to my intuition. It told me to go another route, and I took that route and I was okay. So what I want to say to you is that no matter what's going on in this world, your charge really, and your goal, and if you choose to accept it, is to stay so deeply connected to your intuition, to your higher self, that your steps are guided and you don't need to walk in fear. Because what's the worst thing? That you go back, that you leave your body and go back to the source that you came from? This situation's temporary in the body no matter what. So we're here to bear our light. We are here to help the world transition into this new evolution, to this new stage that the world is going on to. I know it can be tough. But don't allow people who are misaligned to get you out of alignment. Don't allow people who are disconnected and in fear and being bamboozled and controlled, and they're falling into the agenda. Don't allow those people to dim your light or pull you down. And it's not a judgment on them. That's where they're at and that's their path. But if you're listening to this, that's not your path. Your path is to stay in the light, in alignment, to stay connected, knowing that you're going to be protected. You're following your guidance, you're following the light, and what's supposed to happen will happen. This is a time of deep faith and spiritual growth. I've had friends of mine over the years who they don't really do a spiritual practice and they're not really walking the walk, but we're friends on a different level. And through all this, they're living in their life in chaos, and then they're reaching out when things don't go their way or when they get afraid. And I've gotten to the point where I start to get really firm, like, hey, you have access to the same things I have access through discipline and doing your spiritual work. So what I need you to do is to get a spiritual practice that you do on a consistent basis, clean up your karma, do generous acts, give to charity, all these things. I've been watching you do these things in a repetitive motion for 10, 15 years, and I'm tired of it. I'm over here doing my work, and you can also do your work, but due to laziness or not discipline, and these are people that I know, and we have that relationship where we can just call each other out, and they call me out on things. So it's an equal relationship. But I've gotten to the point where I just say, this is a time where everyone's got to do it. You've got to do it. Gone are the days of being able to just willy-nilly your way through life and then suck the light and the life out of other people. The world is shifting in a manner that you can no longer afford to do that. You must now get grounded in what really counts, what goes past this 3D world, this spiritual realm where we all came from, where we're all going back to. So this is a time to get so connected to that nothing in this world can knock you off balance or can scare you away from your connection, because I do believe that is one of the agendas, only because of what I've watched transpire. And I've watched people succumb to it. And I'm not saying we don't fall down and we don't need a helping hand. That happens to me. That happens to all of us. I'm saying develop those practices for yourself. This is incredibly important, and stay connected, because the more of us that are strong in our faith and our knowingness and our connection, the brighter the world becomes. So let's go into a healing. You can start uncrossing your arms and legs, focusing on your breathing. And I'm just going to ground the energy. And run shields. Okay, you can start coming back into your body. And I hope that helped. These reminders for me are really helpful sometimes. And it's nice to know that you're not going through things alone, at least for me. So that's kind of the purpose of me making this podcast today, and really all my podcasts. Just to let you all know that we're going through similar things, and we just got to keep each other going. And I really appreciate you. And thank you for all your donations and your support and your kindness. I so appreciate it. And I just want to wish you a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.